Oh, good. Good. The advantages part had several benefits, but the disadvantages, or the disadvantage part has only two drawbacks. Hello, IELTS writers. Welcome to IELTS Juice. Let's start assessing an essay today. Oh, it's a rather short prompt. In many countries, paying for things using mobile phone, cell phone apps is becoming increasingly common. That's interesting. So people pay for their groceries or the items they purchase using cell phone apps. Does this development have more advantages or more disadvantages? So what IELTS wants to see here is the writer's opinion, but the writer's opinion is conditioned to show that you believe there are more advantages or there are more disadvantages. You need to show that there are advantages and there are disadvantages. And at the same time, you need to show which one is higher than the other one. Usually, I suggest two major scenarios. Either you can go for the quantity. You can say, yeah, here, there are 3 advantages and there are 2 disadvantages. So you can see 3 is larger than 2, then boom. It's obviously clear that there are more advantages. Or we go with the second scenario, which is quality. Now, as for quality, you might come up with 2 advantages and 2 disadvantages. Now, quantity, meaning numbers, cannot help you because they seem equal. And you cannot just say, yeah, I believe advantages are more. That doesn't work here because 2 is not more than 2. You now need to explain a little further that one category, maybe it's advantages, has 2 values, that these 2 are in a higher value level than the other 2. So you play with the quality. Let me give you one example. In this scenario, you might say there are telephone apps, cell phone apps, not telephone. Who uses a telephone? Anyway, there are mobile apps, and well, they have A and B advantages, and these advantages are so critical. They are so important. They're related to health, they're related to your life, they're related to important decisions you might take in your life, they're related to your time. And then you look at the other category, in this case, maybe disadvantages, and the disadvantages are maybe a little bit uncomfortable in some areas, or you might not get good reception in some parts, or the apps are not user-friendly, or the interface doesn't come with the option that you can customize the color. Maybe you prefer a pink I don't know, interface or a blue interface. I don't know, but whichever it is, that option is not there. And then you say that, oh, look, the quality of these 2 is higher than the quality of the other 2. And in that area, you can convince the reader that, okay, now I understood that these 2 are more important than the other 2. And you have to show it. So again, to wrap it up, you either play your quantity card or you play your quality card. It's up to you, whichever is easier. Enough with my explanation, let's move on. These days, in many countries, I need a comma here because people is the subject of the sentence. People choose mobile apps for paying for their purchases. It's very formal, and that's okay. It seems that this trend has more benefits than drawbacks, which I will outline here. It's very good. It's very, very good. I totally understand the concept. It's a good introduction. There are 2 sentences, which is standard for paragraphing. And the first one is a rather good opening, a connector from the topic IELTS proposes. to what I'm about to hear or read in this essay. And the next sentence says that the writer believes the trend has more benefits than drawbacks. But let's see. On the one hand, paying for stuff. Oh no, I'm not a good fan of the word stuff in our essays. It's not a very formal word. You can say paying for the items on your uh, shopping list, or paying for the items you wish to buy. That is much better than saying paying for stuff. Stuff is very informal. It's not a good word. This is not a good choice of word here. By phone apps has several advantages. Several advantages. Let's see. Firstly, people could save money by paying for, stuff via cell phone apps. This is because individuals would not need to commute to the city to purchase an item, okay, which might be located far from people's residential area. Okay, I see many people struggle with the word people and individuals, and they just search for a suitable item. I suggest that you come up with examples and say, for instance, the citizens of this city, located 35 kilometers away from London, for instance, have to commute to London to purchase these certain items. But thanks to these apps, they no longer have to commute the 35-kilometer distance. Twice, actually, to go to London and come back just to purchase one item. So this is an advantage. But how do you do that? You, instead of saying people, individuals, citizens, you keep repeating these words, you just come up with one example, and that would solve a lot of these repetitions for you. So people, so, so, I wouldn't use so at the beginning of a sentence. Maybe a more formal word like therefore. As a result, consequently, people could buy such items via cell phone apps without any cost for transportation. Good? Technically speaking, of course, you have to pay for the delivery. There is transportation cost, but you don't have to pay for the fuel. You know, your car doesn't need to be refueled for that purpose, or you don't have to buy bus tickets for that. But I mean, this doesn't affect any part of the score. This is fine. It's just you and me talking a little bit about reality, and me giving you some more ideas that you may want to use in your IELTS preparation of responses for task 2. In addition, individuals could use their time in the form of optimal. That's a very weird grammar, technically correct, but I would say, let me repeat this. In addition, individuals could use their time in an optimal way. So the first idea was to save money. The second idea is to save time. These purchasers would not require to devote part of their time to going outside for purchasing their necessities, okay, which could be time consuming, which is time consuming. It doesn't have to be could or would. It is time consuming. This time could be saved by purchasing items via phone apps. Okay, I keep receiving this familiar structure. To my ears, they're rather repetitive. I'm still following the message, and I'm still okay with it, but I keep receiving these very generalized parts that they want to emphasize on on some details, but the details are rather repetitive. My issue is more related to coherence and cohesion here, and the variety of sentence structures. Moreover, so far in this paragraph, we saved time, we saved money. Now let's see what it is. Users could increase the speed of works. No, the speed of maybe tasks. Work cannot be pluralized. If by work you mean the task that you have to do, or the job that is bestowed upon you, or the job that you are responsible for, this pluralized form of work has a totally different meaning. So users, who are users? What happened? Are we talking about Apple users and Mac users and Windows users? Why users? I'm not sure this is a very good choice of word. Could increase the speed of tasks to be done effectively. Let me continue. This speed is related to the time in which people would have to wait for ordering and receiving products. I'm a little lost, and it's all because of this users and works. So if I understood the message correctly, I think the essay wanted me to learn or to understand that there are citizens, there are employees actually. There are employees who can work faster and maybe and they can take 1 or 2 hours off from their workplace and they can go shopping. And they can do shopping more comfortably. I'm not sure if you can do shopping effectively. I mean, it happens, yes. But generally speaking, people usually go shopping, comfortably, or they enjoy shopping, that sort of thing. I'm not very familiar with this type, but let's move on. That's the message. You see, guys, I am confused. I did not catch the writer's message here. I'm confused, and the grammar is fine. The vocabulary cannot. I mean, the vocabulary fails to actually convey the message I wanted to hear. That will be short if users order these products by cell phone apps. Which one is that? The speed, the time will be short. Usually time is short, I guess, if users order these products by cell phone apps. Another repetitive structure. And if users order these products, what products? Which products? I mean, I'm confused. I mean, who users are, what products are. I mean, I totally understand if we had a sentence before and we were talking about Apple and I mean Mac and Windows users, but it's not there. Moving on to the other paragraph. So this beefy means big. This big paragraph is responsible for defending the advantages part. This tiny, slim paragraph is responsible for the drawbacks. I love this technique. I mean, physically, I can see that the advantages is more than disadvantages. Subconsciously, I am now convinced that the writer has done a very good job in convincing me that the advantages are more than disadvantages. I'm happy with it. So let me continue reading the second paragraph. the second body paragraph. On the other hand, paying for purchases has two drawbacks. Oh, good. Good. The advantages part had several benefits, but the disadvantages, or the disadvantage part has only two drawbacks. Some people do not know how to use cell phone apps for paying for items. Very valid point. That's a key element. This lack of knowledge leads people to be disappointed with, not towards, with this way of purchase. Okay. It's a valid point. I needed maybe one more sentence to help me understand it in full. Like, disappointment is a huge word. If people cannot use these items, maybe just, for instance, there are many senior citizens who are not comfortable with gadgets, and they need a training on how to use gadgets before they go ahead and do some advanced, I don't know, actions like purchasing something using their mobile phones. They are more comfortable paying everything in cash. What's more, people could be misused, like somebody else misuses people, if they use unsecured apps. Oh, yes, now, yeah, that's correct. I mean, people might fall victim if they use unsecured apps, which are available on the market, sadly, that's correct, as a service provider, correct. People could be taken advantage of because we don't, again, this is not a good choice of word. We don't misuse people. We misuse items. People usually are taken advantage of. So it's bad to take advantage of people. That has a bad connotation. As these phone apps are new, the way of supervision on them is not reliable. And different enterprises would try to misuse this weakness. Weak is an adjective, weakness is the noun. In conclusion, it seems that the benefits of using phone apps for purchasing products outweigh the drawbacks. Yes, now I'm convinced. Yes, evidently, you can see that there are 3 advantages versus 2 disadvantages. The advantages part is this big, the disadvantages part is this big. I am convinced there are more advantages than disadvantages. Provided that people could be educated on how to use these apps, and service providers which offer these apps could act under supervision. Okay, provided that people could be educated on how to use these apps and service providers. Okay, but this shouldn't be a full stop here. I need a comma, because this is a part of the previous sentence, and there's a punctuation mistake. Which offer these apps could act under supervision. Okay. I mean, the very last sentence is not giving me the exact. The message is fine. I'm not confused with the final sentence, but it's not a sentence. I need a comma here. That's a mistake. That's a grammar mistake. And at the same time, it makes the final paragraph a one-sentence paragraph. So, yeah, I have 2 issues here. 333 words. Let's look at the band descriptors. All right. Told you guys, task response is beautiful. apart from maybe a couple of instances that I needed one or two examples to clarify the message I received, everything is there. It's written in a very convincing way. The writer played quantity card, so there are 3 advantages versus 2 disadvantages, and 3 is obviously larger than 2. As you could also see in the paragraph, the first paragraph was larger than the second paragraph, so I'm convinced there are more advantages. That part is done very well. But the 2 columns in the middle are the problematic ones. I had multiple issues with vocabulary choice. The words that were used here and there confused me. And in coherence and cohesion, referencing was an issue. The organization was logical, and the paragraphing is not ideal. But 8 is a very, very good score. Grammar, as for grammar, I only had one error in an advanced grammar, and that said, I didn't see many errors in simple sentences, and in general, the number of grammatical errors in the essay was very, very low. The grammar was fine. The vocabulary was the one that I had the maximum issue with. And even with those errors, with those tiny errors, my communication was not affected at all. All in all, guys, I really enjoyed reading this. Thank you for watching. Remember, your essays, letters, reports are going to be your representatives. So make sure they do their jobs absolutely well. Have a lovely day ahead.